Okay, today we're going to be starting some Reish Mem tests, and we're going to be learning Siv Gimel. We last time learned tremendous amount about how much we can eat on Erev Shabbos. Before Shabbos begins, how much we can't eat, the concept, the idea of going to Shabbos with an appetite. And now we are going to discuss the idea of fasting on Erev Shabbos, and if you're allowed to. Some situations, really, a person has to. So that's what we're going to be discussing over here. That's why this is in this siman. Sif Aleph, we already learned about how much you could travel. It has to do with everything you could do basically before Shabbos. Shulchan Aruch writes, Derech Anshe Maise. It's the way of people of great deed. L'hisanois b'chol Erev Shabbos, to fast every Erev Shabbos. Now, this is surprising. There's an idea of fasting. So the simple explanation in this would probably be because, well, now you're going to be able to go into Shabbos with a very large appetite. We take a look at the Oz V'Hadim Mishnah, really say Kol Hayom. This is a full day fast, full day, full day. So the Torah says, based on Gemara and Eruvin, Beis Yosef, Yerushalmi, says that Rabbi Oven would fast the whole Erev Shabbos. Mishnah Berurah comments and says, Kadeshu Teivim La'echol B'Layla. There it is. Why was there a custom? Why is there a custom for men of great deed to fast Erev Shabbos? The answer is so that people have an appetite going into Shabbos. Look at the Bach Magen Avraham and other Achronim that they agree that you are not allowed to fast on Erev Shabbos. So you actually have a major discussion over here if you're allowed to fast or not on Erev Shabbos. According to Shulchan Aruch, it's preferable. According to these other Achronim, better not to. In order that you don't enter Shabbos when you're afflicted. Meaning you don't want to go into Shabbos now and you're gonna be totally hungry and everything like that. That could ruin Shabbos as well. Imlo, unless shehu istanis kol kach shin yoichel b'yom yuchel echel b'layla. Unless you're a very, very finicky individual over here, and if you're going to eat during the day, so then you won't be able to eat at night with an appetite. As minog toiv hu im ein mazik lo hatainis. So then it will be a good custom if the fast won't bother you. So in other words, we have different categories of people over here. We have in general men of great deed. You fast Erev Shabbos. That's number one. Number two is some argue on that because what's going to happen? You're going to go into Shabbos, and now you're going to be famished. You're going to be starving. So you have a discussion by most people if it's even preferable to or not. However, if someone is a very, perhaps we could say, slim fellow, he knows himself that if he's going to eat, he's not going to have any appetite. So then it's better for him to even fast if it won't damage him. Those are the different levels that we're talking about over here. If we take a look over here at the Mishnah Berurah, those Vahadim Mishnah Berurah, they quote, Kadeshu tarv lechel suda Shabbos b'layla v'yakaimu mitzvahs oinig Shabbos kiro. You want to fulfill the mitzvah of owning Shabbos properly. That's why there's an idea of fasting. Look at the Bach, Magen Avraham, other Achronim, they agree you shouldn't fast on Erev Shabbos the entire day. Kol hayom, they say. K'dei shelo yikanes Shabbos k'hu ma'una v'yavor al mitzvah zoynig Shabbos v'mixas ha-Shabbos v'tchilaso. You might violate the mitzvah of owning Shabbos a little bit on Shabbos in the beginning. Unless you're an istinus. An istinus is someone who's mafunuk or ma'unug. Very sensitive individual. Kokach shim yoichlam ba'ashu bayoim. If you're going to eat a little bit during the day, that's really going to ruin your appetite. At night, you're not going to be able to have an appetite. As minhag toivu lisanas erev Shabbos. So then it's actually a good minhag to fast on erev Shabbos. So a person has to know his status over here. Person has to know. They say on the next page. Okay, so that's going to be the entire sif. It's a short sif with the Mishnah Brura, with the Ozva Hadar Mishnah Brura, and this is something that a person needs to consider over here. So it comes out, in conclusion, at least according to the Mishnah Brura, comes out that the conclusion that the Mishnah Brura says and is holding that it is better not to fast on Erev Shabbos. Yeah, question.
I
Can't hear.
don't know. No question for me. I don't know.
No.
I don't know.
Sorry, hold on, I'm muted.
Okay, now you're muted. What's the
Yeah.
question?
Aser b'teves is divrei Kabbalah at best.
Yes. Therefore,
So why does the divrei Kabbalah override the when you start Shabbos that you'll have less oneg Shabbos? Like we just saw, by the Oz V'Hadar, that he said specifically, right? That you shouldn't fast because Yavar al mitzvah oneg Shabbos but mitzvah Shabbos b'tchilaso.
yeah.
Right. But I mean, I think there were deists out there that said that you fast up until, I guess, right until right before Shabbos, but we all hold nowadays that I guess you fast through on Asar B'Teves.
Okay. What we have to realize over here is this discussion that we're learning about has absolutely nothing to do with the Tainus Sibur, an official public fast. We are talking about a Tainus Yachid. An individual decides on his own that he's going to fast. Tainus Sibur, when we learn the halachas of public fast in Chelik Vav, we'll tackle those issues. We are talking about over here private fast. The questions and the reasons as to why public fasts and how they could fall out, if it's only rabbinic at best before Shabbos and we're not concerned about this, that's another discussion in and of itself. We're talking about as a person is going to decide to accept upon himself an optional fast. Is it better to do that or not? According to Shulchan Aruch, it is. According to the Mishnah Brura, the Bach, the Magen Avraham, others, you should not do so. Why? Because you don't want to go into Shabbos when you're famished. That's for the average person. So better not to. Just wanted to open up the tshuvas from Rav Harfinis, because we quickly did this the other day, but now we could. It's like a new tshuva, so to say. We didn't learn the whole tshuva. We just learned this little part over here. He said that you're allowed to fast on Erev Shabbos if you have yurtzeit. You're fasting Erev Rosh Chodesh, Shovavim, whatever it is. Tefillin fell. So, anyways. Okay, so this is the discussion over there. Does the Dershu say anything over here? The Dershu Mishnah Brura actually has no notes on this. Right? So there's not much to say. However, I think it would be worthwhile if we would look at the Piskei Chuvas over here. You actually might have some insights to add. I have in my notes over here. Take a look at Osvav. That might be Osvav of the old print. So it might be a later one here. Let's see. No, Osvav. Okay, it's still here. V'gam ekev shinui vest. Tchilu cholim yayin. Shurabim heim anoshim asher la'acher soim. Kasher yoichlu ma'acholim shmeinim u'mevusamim hargashasam loitia tovim u'gucham yichlach v'din zakavad Shabbos. This is an excellent point. Bab Metzia Kuf Vav discusses when you change the cycle or what you're used to. When you change what you're used to, that could be the beginning of sicknesses in your stomach. A lot of people that after they fast, when they eat fatty foods and the like, they don't feel so good about that. Usually when we break a fast, we have something light, little bread, butter, maybe eggs. You're breaking a fast and now you're cutting straight to the meat and the potatoes over here. You're cutting to the chase. You might get a little sick from that. Your body might get weak from that. That's not considered honoring Shabbos. So we have to consider that factor as well when we're learning these halachas over here. This is based on what the Makor Chaim says. Chavos Yair. If by fasting, your Shabbos meal at night won't be going so good, don't fast. The Shilos and Chuvas Ksav Sefer and Siman Lamites is another reason not to fast Erev Shabbos. Instead of focusing on the mitzvahs of Shabbos, Smiros, Divrei Torah, etc., you're just going to be focusing on, wow, I'm so hungry right now. It's going to be all about the food. Shabbos isn't all about the food. So that's another reason. So therefore, Piskei Tshuva says, "V'lchem atzinu la'anshe ma'isa, shehagam shemi'otu mila'echol b'erev Shabbos." Therefore, we find men of great deed that even though they decreased what they ate on Erev Shabbos, mikol makom achlu ma'at me'achala shehuchnu l'Shabbos u'me'ara basar hashemin shehuchnu l'kavod Shabbos. Even though there were men of great deed who certainly decrease the amount that they ate Erev Shabbos. Nevertheless, they ate a little bit of the challah that they prepared for Shabbos. They ate a little bit of the meat that was fatty, that was prepared for Shabbos, in order to accustom themselves to the Shabbos food. And then it won't result that there was a change in their cycle, which could cause a sickness. So that's a interesting point. And this sheds light on something that we actually learned about in the past, which was one of the reasons for To'ameh, tasting the Shabbos food before. The simple explanation is we taste from the food because why? Who remembers? Why do we taste from the food Erev Shabbos, the Shabbos food?
Make sure it's good.
Right. However, this is a deeper reason. You taste from it to get your body acclimated to the Shabbos food so that you won't get sick from changing the style foods that you eat. Interesting point there. We had when the Jews were in the desert for 40 years, there was a double portion of the man which fell down on Erev Shabbos. and they started eating from it already on Friday. So just like by the man in the desert, they started eating it from Friday. So too over here as well. That what? You start eating from the Shabbos man, the Shabbos food before Shabbos. It's a good point over here. V'od matzinu kapida etzel chasidim v'anshei ma'aser liyishon not Erev Shabbos. This is something that we already focused on. We already learned about this. We find that by other people, Chassidim in particular, men of great deed, it's accustomed to take a nap Erev Shabbos. Shuhu bechlal lo yikones Shabbos kishuhu ma'una. That's included in the category of don't enter Shabbos when you are afflicted, so to say. Just like you don't want to go into Shabbos when you're starving, so too you don't want to go into Shabbos when you are afflicted over here. In terms of your body, you're so tired. The moichoy solo lakabel pnei Shabbos malchus of besimcha v'toiv love of lisoy tzudis lo Shabbos b'shirus v'tishbachos v'deyas lo miushavos. The idea over here is when you want your brain and mind to be completely clear, to happily greet Shabbos, and to have the meal. To have proper zmiros that you're going to sing, etc. Be fully focused, say Divrei Torah, whatever it is. We learned in the past about this at the Munkatcher Rebbe. He wondered why this mitzvah of taking a nap on Erev Shabbos isn't one of the Ten Commandments. Yeah, bring over here. Magim the Mizrach, other Sadiqim were very stringent on this and praise people who are careful with it. Anyways, this is the idea over here when it comes to specifically optional fasts. Now the next sif is going to be dealing with mandatory fasts. You can already see he's getting set up. Tainasibim Medivri Kabbalah, Sarat Batavis. So that's going to be the next sif. The next sif is much longer. We're not going to finish it today, so we'll just save the next sif for next week. Any questions or comments on this sif that we just did right now? I will take that as a no.
I said no, no.
No?
Oh,
Okay. Okay. So, what part is starting? Sif Dalla now. It's too long. Maybe we could even do it in one shot next time.